Help for parents struggling with their child. If your relationship with your child is perfect and their future is on the right track, this video is not for you. But if you're a parent who feels disconnected from your struggling child, you are going to want to watch this video. Has your child stopped sharing with you? Do they seem stressed and upset? Have you wondered where your baby went that wouldn't stop loving you and giving you kisses? Now it's difficult to get them to look up from their electronics. If your relationship with your child is strained and they are acting out in ways that aren't helpful, like being angry with you, pulling away from the family, possibly self-harming, or just refusing to listen to others and continuing to make poor choices, you aren't alone. Watching a child you love going through this is excruciating. Perhaps you've tried talking with them but feel like you can't get through, almost like there is a wall between you and your child. Does it seem like everything you say is taken the wrong way? Do you feel like your life has been hijacked by a fear of your child's reaction? We all want what is best for our children. Unfortunately, children who are unhappy, disconnected, struggling, and anxious are at an increased risk for drug addiction, suicide, and early death. Suicides in our adolescents are up an alarming rate and continue to rise. Maybe you've tried or are working with a therapist or doctor. Perhaps you're just starting on this journey and aren't sure where to look for answers. If you are a parent or caregiver looking for help, this video is for you. I'm Dr. Shannon Smith. I'm a pediatrician in a wonderful town that also happens to be the heroin overdose capital of the United States. Over the past 15 years, I've helped thousands of families reconnect with their child. During this time, so many children have shared with me that they felt unhappy, stupid, bad, worthless, or worse. Despite their parents' best efforts, these children continued to suffer. Children who feel this way about themselves don't know how to reconnect with their parents, which puts their future at risk. Despite not having all the answers, I began working with families because I knew I had to try to help. What I discovered is that there are answers, techniques to try, ways to increase our chances of connecting with our child and dramatically reducing their risk. Although we can't change anyone else, we as parents and caregivers have the ability to influence them. As a pediatrician and mother, I've created a system to improve every child's chance of having a promising future. This powerful system is the focus mindset. The focus mindset offers hope. It gives parents and caregivers a predictable system to reconnect with their child, dramatically improving their family's chance of happiness, resilience, and a promising future. I'm so happy to share with you what I've learned from years of working with families, research, and interviews is that there is hope, a lot of hope. With so much negativity around us, it can be difficult to see because negativity sells. Our brains are drawn to look for threats. The news is a business, always trying to get our attention. Where our focus goes, advertising dollars follow. And because of this, the vast majority of people don't realize that the world is getting better. And not just a little better, but a lot better. Despite the suicide risk increasing, so many other aspects of our lives have dramatically improved. This graph shows the massive drop in the murder rate over the past 700 years. Look at that drop. We live during the safest and most prosperous time that humans have ever known. More people have access to clean water, electricity, education, and more freedoms than ever before. We truly live during an incredible time. Humans live longer than ever before. Humans have been around for hundreds of thousands of years, and even as recently as just a few thousand years ago, most people were dying by age 18. Even 100 years ago, people only made it to an average age of 50. Now our average life expectancy is around 80. We are living longer and better than ever before. So why don't most of us realize how much better life is getting, and why does it matter? During the past few 100,000 years that humans have been around, what did they do with their time? Most of their time was spent trying to meet their basic needs. Hunting, gathering, creating shelter, trying to protect themselves. Every day we are faced with a choice of what to do with our time. This pyramid depicts Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, which represents what motivates us to decide what we're going to do with our time, starting from the bottom to the top. The base shows our basic needs in purple and green: air, water, food, clothing, shelter, and safety. Without these, we can't begin to think of anything else higher on the pyramid. Above the basic needs are our psychological needs: relationships, belonging, and a feeling of connectedness to those we love. Then at the pyramid's very top is the need to achieve one's full potential. This is where we can focus to help us feel valuable and fulfilled. Our ability to focus our energy towards any goal that we choose is within our grasp more than ever before. Any information to help humans survive and move up this pyramid to meet their needs more efficiently was prized. In order to attempt to improve their family's chance of survival, people traveled treacherous routes over incredible distances. During the thousands of years that humans have survived, only recently has our species gained the incredible freedoms to be able to meet our basic needs using such a small amount of our time each day and communicating with each other without needing to physically be there. Throughout history, information was limited and therefore in demand and valuable. In order to share information, humans had to physically travel from one place to another. Then they figured out how to use smoke signals, then carrier pigeons, Morse code, mail carriers, landlines, and now that phone in your pocket, instantaneously sending and receiving information anywhere in the world. This same pattern can be seen with learning. In order to learn something new, humans have always had the ability to experiment and try it themselves, many times risking their lives to learn. Since we are an incredibly efficient species, humans began searching for ways to gain more information quickly by finding mentors. Then they built some monasteries and cathedrals to gather more information in one place. Then universities popped up in more locations, making learning more convenient and easier to obtain. Now you can just Google it. Our brains crave information. We are grabbing little pieces of it everywhere. Never before have we been surrounded by so much information. With all this information, most of our brains still view it as a limited resource, trying to gather as much as we can, and most of us are drowning in information and we don't know why. There is so much information known, and every moment so much more being discovered that it's impossible for anyone to know everything, not even close. Despite our brains being amazing processors, the default setting of our brains has been set for a completely different time. Our brains are constantly taking in an immense amount of information and trying to assess it in order to improve our chances of survival and reproduction. This default setting of the human brain has kept our species alive. When people believe the world is getting worse, they have difficulty seeing the incredible opportunities around them. They give up, not realizing how much closer we are than ever before to achieving anything that we can dream of. For most of humanity, the brain in our time was dedicated to meeting our basic needs. Today, life-changing opportunities surround each of us because of our incredible freedoms and instantaneous access to information. Unfortunately, when we don't know how to process this information, it leads to devastating consequences. 1 out of every 4 of our children are at an increased risk for things that we're trying to protect them from, like performing poorly in school, missing out socially, engaging in substance abuse, self-harming, and even committing suicide. In the midst of all these incredible technological and social advantages, not knowing how to focus has resulted in our society's anxiety, depression, and suicide epidemic. Our minds are still using outdated programming, looking for constant threats around us while taking in a stream of unfocused information. If you question how real the problem is, every 2 hours, one person under the age of 25 commits suicide. Every day there are 11 youth suicides. Drug overdose deaths have shot up. During my 10-minute drive home from the office, it isn't abnormal for me to see at least one overdose victim being attended to by an ambulance. But sadly, some days I see as many as 3. The lack of connection adds to this rising drug overdose death in one of the wealthiest and most prosperous countries in the world. These trends I've shown you are worrisome. But I'm here to share with you the amazing news that there are techniques to improve our children's chances of not being part of these statistics. As I said before, this group of techniques that we can use to help our children is the focus mindset. The focus mindset allows us to direct our lives in a manner similar to how a video gaming controller directs an avatar in the direction of the player's choice. Understanding what this remote controls and how to use it is key to creating the life we want. It might sound obvious that it would be useful to have the ability to direct our lives in any direction we choose. What most of us don't realize is that taking command of our lives starts with recognizing how little we actually control. The truth is, when most of us become parents, we still haven't realized how to direct our own lives. Many of us feel beaten down by our relationship with our suffering child. Even parents who do succeed in numerous ways may still not know how to help their child understand how to take command of their lives. As a parent, you may live in constant fear about how your child's life will turn out. For many parents, this is the reality they face. Some fear they're watching their child's chance of a promising future dwindle. This is crushing. Watching your child pull away from you and make self-destructive choices is agonizing. As a parent, we can feel guilty, sad, and helpless, like we don't have control over our own lives. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you exactly how myself and many families that I've worked with have created a predictable system to reconnect with your child, creating a promising future. I'm also going to share with you the biggest mistakes most parents and caregivers are making when children are struggling. The 2 things that families can do today to dramatically improve their child's future. The simple, proven 4-step system that will create a framework for overcoming challenges. I've used this system with predictability to help many families heal and thrive. I am committed to helping as many families as I can. I want every family that I work with to be incredibly successful. A family's success is my success. I've noticed that a family's chance of being successful is dramatically increased if they are dedicated to creating a framework in their lives for a promising future and if they are open to enjoying the process. So if you are a parent looking to reconnect with your child and increase their chance of happiness, resilience, and a promising future, then you are definitely in the right place. The best thing about using the focused mindset is that it is a predictable system that helps everyone willing to put in the work starting immediately. Techniques can be applied to situations throughout one's entire life, and the focused mindset is based on tested and proven results. You may have noticed that people tend to fall into one of 2 categories. Struggling, people who can't seem to get ahead. The problem seems to surround them. They struggle to understand why is this happening to them and usually feel the situation is outside of their control. Overcoming, people who thrive are grateful and appear to have great lives. Everything seems to work out for them. Some seem almost bulletproof, becoming stronger regardless of their struggles. The truth is that everyone has problems. The question becomes, why do some people drown in difficulties while others thrive? After talking to thousands of parents, caregivers, and children, I've realized that the overcomers have 2 techniques they use while the strugglers do not. And the truth is that if you use these techniques, this simple and predictable system will dramatically increase your chance of reconnecting with your child, creating a promising future. Only parents and families with a predictable system for taking command of their lives can say, when I focus, my life moves in the exact direction that I choose. I'm inspired daily by these families who have shared with me their gratitude for the focused mindset through reviews like these. One mother said, "Thank you for teaching our family how to make measurable changes to add value and happiness to our lives. We're incredibly grateful." Another shared, "Our family has been transformed by the focused mindset. I can't say enough good things." I want all families to thrive. My goal is to add massive value to families and to the world. Technology is coming at us quickly. Instead of allowing technology to use us, we have the ability to make it work for us. As I said before, the best way I found to help parents reconnect with their child and overcome struggles is through this analogy to technology. We can direct our lives the same way a video gaming controller can be used to play a video game. Ask any gamer. Knowing how to use the remote helps play any game. Realizing that our video gaming controller only has 3 buttons is key to directing our lives, because the only 3 things that we have complete control over are our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. Most people, myself included, have allowed people to push their buttons and have tried to push other people's buttons. Choosing to focus on our thoughts, beliefs, and actions while realizing we are only guessing at the meaning of others' words and actions allow us to take control of our own lives. I usually explain this to patients by asking them how they would feel if I, as their doctor, walked into the room and said something rude. The patient and their family usually look up at me a little skeptical and tell me that they would be upset or angry. Then I ask, what if a small child who could barely walk wobbled into the room and said the same exact words? How would they feel then? They usually smile and start to understand we are much more in control of how we interpret others' words and actions than we realize. The harsh truth for most is that this disconnection and struggle stem from 2 things: not knowing where and how to direct our lives, and not understanding how to focus to obtain one skill at a time in line with our goals. In other words, people don't know how to use their remote, leaving them without the ability to direct their own lives. In order to control and direct our lives, understanding how the brain processes information is useful. Comparing an electronic device to my brain helped me to understand how both allow information to flow through in order to create a result. Both an electronic device and our brain require energy. Input is received in our electronic device through touchscreens, keyboards, controllers, or a mouse. Then input is processed through an app or program, causing an action, then a result. Our brains use the input from our senses, which is processed through the knowledge we have, also called skills and beliefs, which cause an action, then creates our reality. So if our reality is not what we want, we have the ability to download new skills or knowledge easier than ever before because of the immense amount of information at our disposal. We all know when and how to download an app to our phone. But how do we know when and how to download information into our brains in order to update our skills? And only the specific skills needed to meet our goal. We can download new information or skills when our lives aren't going in the direction we want. But first, we need to know where we want our life to go. We have to create a defined goal. Not having a goal is like someone telling you to run a race, but not showing you where the finish line is. Once we have a goal, we can download or learn whatever is needed to achieve that goal. What I never understood, that learning isn't subjective, like you can or can't learn something. I thought that we learned on a linear curve that looks like this, a straight line going up, and therefore I expected myself to have a much larger jump when I was first learning something than I did. This is why so many of us say we can't do it, or we've tried and it didn't work, or we're horrible at whatever. Learning actually happens on a curve that looks much more like this. As parents, we've seen this curve in action many times. A baby is completely helpless at first, not able to move around at all. The baby doesn't start rolling until 4 months, then crawling at 6 to 8 months. Then shortly after that, they're cruising and walking and running, from barely moving to a full-blown sprint. This is called an exponential curve. Very little progress occurs in the beginning of the curve, then it shoots upward. And the only way to move up this curve is to try different things and make many mistakes, falling down many times. In other words, the only way up this curve is to fail up it, making mistake after mistake until we learn enough to move up to the next step. This cartoon does a good job showing how we can either allow failures to hold us down or use failures to get where we want to go. Fail fast and cheap, fail often, fail in a way that doesn't kill you. This sign hangs on the wall inside Google. Companies like Facebook and Google, who are just killing it, know how to use failure. The same exponential learning curve is seen in our top performers too. Do you think Beyonce started out as good as she is now? Beyonce's performances continue to move up the exponential curve. Failure and mistake after failure and mistake. Even now, she continues to review the videos after each performance to find mistakes or areas that can be improved upon, both for herself and others, so her performances can keep moving up the curve. Practice makes progress not perfect. This curve doesn't stop. Anyone can learn anything they choose up an exponential curve, starting with very small changes. How high you need to go up that curve depends on what goal you set for yourself. Looking back at the comparison of how our brain works versus an electronic device, they each use a similar process to meet their goal. In our electronic device, after we download an app, if the app doesn't do what we needed it to do, then we would look for another app. Our device isn't broken. We just need to download a different app. In the same way, if your brain doesn't have a current skill, instead of blaming yourself, stop and make sure the skill is needed to meet your goal. Then use the focus mindset to download the needed skill to create your reality. This quote from a pioneer in psychology says, "One of the most significant findings in psychology in the last 20 years is that an individual can choose the way they think." So what I'm telling you is that we have the ability to self-program based on our goals. And for the first time in history, we have instantaneous access to information and the freedom to take action, creating whatever we want. This is success. Choosing a goal, following a process to obtain that goal. This is the focus mindset. Consider pausing for a moment and let the next point really sink in, because it's the exact opposite of what society has been telling us. Today, our society focuses on shame, embarrassment, and blame, tries to get us to push buttons and not on our gaming controller, views failure in an unproductive way, and pushes multitasking and busyness instead of focus and value. Most parents are focusing on items and things that won't add long-lasting value to their families' lives. They are trying to prepare their families for the future using yesterday's techniques. Remember how I told you that the overcomers have two things in their families that the strugglers don't? The two things needed for success are setting defined goals and using a proven system of techniques to overcome obstacles by focusing on solutions, making goals a reality. Because it comes down to this: if we don't have a system to deal with obstacles and difficulties in life, then we will not be able to predictably grow and become stronger from challenges that will arise. Now let's get down to business and show you exactly how you can use the focused mindset to implement a predictable system for overcoming difficulties, dramatically increasing the chance of reconnecting with your child, helping them create a promising future today. The biggest mistakes parents are making when dealing with disconnected and suffering children are viewing these actions with judgment or seeing these behaviors for anything more than they are, which is a coping skill with a low likelihood of improving their chance of a promising future. Other mistakes are not seeking out a system to help communicate with the child and define their goals, or not seeking out help for themselves. The only four things that matter are setting goals, focusing on a limited number of those goals, taking measurable action towards those goals, assessing the results, making small changes, and repeating. If you are not making the progress you want with your child right now, please let me ask you this: what questions are you asking your child to help them better understand themselves and their goals? Are you and your family's goals clearly defined and regularly discussed? If your goals are reviewed regularly, then please share with me. What have you done to take action towards those goals with a focused, measurable method? These questions can be difficult, but they are a great place to start adding value to your family. As a parent, it's very easy to get distracted by new shiny objects in the chaos of life. But the reality is that setting goals, focusing, taking directed action, and reassessing are the only four things that matter. Families who are thriving and overcoming are using this process. Families using this process not only survive obstacles and difficulties, but thrive because of life's challenges. Having a predictable process to deal with the difficulties in life creates a promising future. Using the focused mindset allows us to achieve any dream that we choose. When we are young, we are told to dream big, then life happens. I'm here to share with you that anything is within our reach using this method because of the incredible technological and social advances available today. Life doesn't have to feel like such a struggle, or that we need magic to get our life back on track. The focused mindset is the process we can use to direct our lives in any direction that we choose, reconnecting with our child, creating a promising future. Cracking the code only takes these 4 steps. Once these line up, creating the reality we choose is as simple as opening a lock. I hope everyone is able to unlock the code for their family. When families that I've worked with are thriving, I know that we found the code to unlock happiness. One patient's parents wrote me to say that her child no longer hides in her room after school. Since learning the focused mindset, she is vibrant and happy. We have our daughter back. Another said, "Your program not only helped our son, but transformed our entire family. We communicate without judgment and anger. In order to achieve results like these, you must have the right process." It has taken me years to create a process to help families achieve their desired results in the shortest time possible. I have no doubt that with enough time, patience, and persistence, your family has the ability to achieve similar results on their own. Going at this yourself means trying 10,000 different possible combinations. Therefore, the results you desire could take years or even a lifetime to achieve. Unfortunately, time with our children is limited. Through this 8-week course, I want to help every family unlock this code as quickly as possible. If you want a predictable system to reconnect with your child, helping them to take command of their lives, creating a promising future, then I'm offering you a chance to become the next parent or caregiver to work with me. This class is for parents and caregivers who are committed to reconnecting with their child, for those who have tried different methods without consistent results, parents and caregivers who know they can add value to their family with the right tools to stop the cycle of suffering, those who are willing to work hard for a great outcome, and also for parents and caregivers who understand that they need to have some skin in the game. Working with me is not cheap, but the benefit of working with me far exceeds the cost of not investing in your child, guaranteed. This class is not for people who want an easy fix, people who make excuses and complain, people who are stuck in the information gathering mode and are not prepared to take action and get results. This is not for people who aren't serious about dramatically adding value to their families' lives. I'm offering you a free, no obligation, personal, custom tailored one-on-one call between you and me. This is where we start figuring out what you want for your family and how to make it happen in the fastest time possible. The better the fit, the better the results. There may be some people that will be better helped by another program, and I will gladly pass along any information to help them on their way. There are many families that I can help, and we will create transformational results. I'm only looking for families who make a great fit. So it's time to take action. Complete the application for a free one-on-one, personally tailored strategy session between you and me. This application is necessary so I can determine if I am the best person to help you and your family and whether or not we can generate life-changing transformational results. It is also necessary so I can make sure you are ready to step up, commit, and take the action necessary to generate your desired results. Once I receive your application, you will be able to schedule a time for our strategy session. At the end of the call, 2 of the following things will happen. We will either determine you're a right fit and I will extend an invitation to work with me, or if it's not a good fit, that's completely okay. There will be no hard feelings. I want everyone who receives a powerful strategy session to walk away with newfound clarity as to where you are right now and what is holding you back from achieving the results you want for you and your family. Along with the next steps to take action and break through barriers, this will most likely be the most valuable 40 minutes that you invest in yourself this year. So go ahead, complete your application right now, and we'll see if we're a right fit to work together. Many people apply to work with me each week, so this is an extremely limited opportunity. I only have a few spots left to work one-on-one because of the intensity I pour into each client in order to provide them with the best results. Like I said before, I only work with clients if I believe I can get them the results they're looking for. What I have found is that those who take decisive action to make a change are those who are most likely to get incredible results. The sooner you implement the focused mindset into your family's life, the sooner you connect with your child. You are not alone. We got this. If you feel this is right for you, then take action. Scroll down to step 2 and click Apply Now to see if you qualify. If you don't see the button, you may need to exit full screen. Then follow the instructions on the next page. I'm excited to add incredible value to your family.